Welcome, everyone. We are here today with Dr. Kristy Taylor. Kristy, where are you coming from today?
So I am actually here in the Washington, D.C. area, and I am working from home today. Just start over.
I'm obviously going to be editing this.
Yeah, it's okay. It happened last night. I think the girl, she had to start about 5 times, and I said, honey, I got to go to a class at 8. But it was really a great interview, though,
Oh, okay.
So
I know how to edit this, so that's the great part.
it's no worries. It's no worries. I'm just like half of my hair is feel. It's over. We're just gonna go with it.
All right. So welcome everyone. Today we have Dr. Kristy Taylor joining us. Kristy, where are you located?
So I'm actually here in the greater Washington, D.C. area, and I just happen to be working from home today. And thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're really excited to hear what you have to say. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Dr. Kristy Taylor. I'm a certified career coach and master mindset coach. I am the founder of Work Solutions LLC and really known for Career Coach RX. Work Solutions LLC is the branch of my company, is the main framework of my company, where I focus on providing support to small businesses, nonprofits that are in the education and healthcare sector. I do workshops and focus on organizational improvement. And then the coaching branch of Work Solutions LLC is Career Coach RX, where I work with clients one-on-one, and I provide action-oriented, accountable career coaching and professional branding services.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
And it's really unique, because when we get into this conversation today, because I don't just do the career branding services piece of it, I actually work with clients on their mindset so that they can overcome self-limiting beliefs so that they can actually achieve their career goals. It's really more than just your traditional job interview and resume development for personal branding.
Wow. I feel like in business mindset is it's the key.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, a lot of times when you're working with a career coach, they will just generally focus on, LinkedIn optimization, resume writing, et cetera. And what happens is clients will get the job interviews, but don't understand why they may not get the job, or they may not be excelling. A lot of times just because they're not confident in the work that they're doing. And it's the same thing for entrepreneurship, right? You'll have in your mind that I want to do something, or I want to build something great, but then you just can't seem to get moving on that goal. And it's 100% generally mindset. And we often will use a lack of resources as an excuse. And I've said this 1,000 times in 1,000 interviews: start where you are. So with limited resources, whatever, if you have a great mindset, you can start where you are and things will get moving for you.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I found myself doing that last night.
Yeah, you just got to start where you are.
I had a good friend of mine last night remind me about mindset and how it matters, specifically in marketing and marketing yourself, which is, basically what you're doing when you're networking. In a much different way, but you're still marketing yourself. And and I'm sure you could appreciate this as a business coach. He was telling me to market accomplishments, not roles.
Exactly, because it's really about selling yourself, right? And selling the things that you've done that demonstrate that you have the ability to get results. So it's the same thing. Like if I develop a resume for a client, a lot of times that resume serves as a confidence booster. It's the first step to beginning the process of networking, because that person may have never seen themselves quantified on paper, right? So when you see yourself that looking good on paper, or you have a great LinkedIn profile that people are responding to or engage with, that helps to boost your confidence, and it also helps to build your network. And it gives you a sense of clarity about that, what you actually have done and the skills that you have and bring to the table, because oftentimes we're not always able to speak to that. But having a solid resume, cover letter, personal statement, those personal branding documents, they actually help you to take that first step forward in the right direction.
Right. Yes, definitely. And there LinkedIn is such a great resource for networking, and for building your professional brand,
It is.
yourself as a professional. Now, what are some common networking mistakes that you've seen some people make, and how do you think they can be
I
avoided?
have some notes for you. Okay, so we talk about this stuff as coaches, right? And the importance of building connections with people and engaging with people. And I tell clients over and over again to practice in the mirror, like practice your pitch. And I'm sure we'll talk about pitch development later on. But I actually jotted down three things. One is being too transactional. So, we when you're prepping people, or you may just kind of be prepping yourself to go out there into the world and connect with others, you practice in the mirror your perfect pitch. But then when you meet people, you go right into that pitch. There's no natural flow of conversation. So that's the first mistake, right? Being so transactional that it comes off as unnatural. You can interweave, the stories about yourself and your accomplishments. Like, just because you develop a pitch, it doesn't mean that you have to say that whole 60-second pitch in one statement. You can kind of interweave it in a natural flow. And then the second thing is when you're meeting people and you're building these connections, if you say you're going to follow up with someone, follow up with them, because you could have made a great connection, but you failed to follow up, and that was an opportunity that you missed. And then the last thing that I often see, and I tell this to clients, don't just stay within your network, right? We often gravitate to where we feel the most comfortable. Like, I use myself as a personal example. I started my business in 2016, and I really specifically worked with healthcare professionals. I was very known for burnout prevention and, resume writing, and connected with healthcare professionals because that is my field. And then towards the end of last year, I relaunched this Work Solutions with the intent to just continue to work with health professionals under a different brand. But then something happened earlier this year, and I said, no, I mean, this work that I'm doing on burnout prevention and resiliency, it really encompasses, education and nonprofits. I am not familiar with the nonprofit sector. So you know what I'm doing? I'm building networks and connections with people in areas that I may not be familiar with, because who knows, when I go out and I'm at events or I'm passing out business cards and talking to people, it's all about that person who knows somebody that knows somebody, and you just never know. And so um, don't overlook those connections that you could build outside of your network of your comfort zone, right? Because you never know what those might be referrals that could help you to continue to build your business and grow your brand. Okay, so I want to give you a great example. I talked about this piece of me transitioning my business to go into the nonprofit sector. So on a previous project that I worked on, um, I was working with some contractors. Each one of us have our own different businesses and our own lane. And in that sense, we're working together as colleagues, but we don't know each other personally, right? But what we saw is each other's work ethic. And it just so happens that one of the people that I was working with, he has a company that's much more established, much larger than mine. So when the contract ended, just based on the work ethic alone, he offered me an opportunity to come in and do some projects with his organization. The same thing, as I move into this sector, working with nonprofits. I mean, education for me is easy because I've been there, so I'm not as worried about building my brand in that arena. But with nonprofits, it's about, okay, connecting. Hey, I have a podcast. I have, this opportunity available, and we kind of do an exchange, right? A tit for tat, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later on in our discussion. But you just never know, like, when you're talking about building your network, the people that you come across, as they get to know your work ethic, if they get to, you have a strong online presence and a personal brand, that really helps you to leverage the opportunities and build your business, because that's what it's all about, right? It's all about growth, and you're building a reputation for yourself in the process.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Mhm.
Um, Now, what types of networking situations do you recommend that your clients take advantage of? There's the formal referral, business to business referral relationships, and then there's the open networking, and then there's, obviously people are going to network in everyday life in any situation, but which ones do you typically send your newer clients to?
Okay, so for me as a business owner, I do it all, business to business, right? And I also do, events where I'm or engaged with a lot of online networking to get clients. When it comes to clients, right? I send them to, one, online networking is important. We talk about, getting their LinkedIn squared away. Some clients, I do their LinkedIn profile for them. Some of them, maybe as a coach, I guide them on the process of doing it. Part of that is, and LinkedIn is a great platform, but it's also becoming very spammy, right? And so you have to know how to navigate that platform to use it to your advantage. So in this digital age, I tell my clients you need to make sure that you have a strong online professional brand. And for you, just for the job search process, that brand is, depending on where you're going, what sector you're going into, that brand starts with LinkedIn. And then also making sure that you have a clean slate when it comes to social media, that you're not posting stuff that can be used against you in a job interview. Because typically, the first thing I do, whether I'm connecting with a business partner or I'm hiring somebody to do a project, I typically will Google their name, right? So the online is the baseline starting there. And then for clients who are looking for respective jobs, I tell them, to connect with recruiters, connect with groups on Facebook, connect with people who respond to posts, be very engaged in the process, but, strategically, right? Because you want to actually spend your time looking for a job and building those connections. So when a client goes out, I tell them to, one, look at the field that you're working in and see and look at professional organizations in that field, get connected with professional organizations. I've actually even referred clients to meetup.com before, because you can find a lot of, free networking groups even on meetup.com, and just kind of build a professional reputation and monitor what you're posting on LinkedIn. Make sure that it's a mix of, because LinkedIn is not about personal your personal that's not a personal social media platform. It is for your professional persona, right? So be aware of what you're saying and how you're engaging and what you're sharing on platforms that are for your professional persona. And then the other thing is, that's the online piece. But if there are groups in your area that are in the same field as you, get out and connect with those. Go to job fairs, get out and connect with business organizations that are hiring. Even go to, events that are just about different topics where, there's going to be professionals there, because that goes back to building that diverse network. Because even as you're going out to these events where you feel like, okay, there might not be anything relevant to me, you just never know where you're going to make and build that connection. And you can create like a virtual business card that you can use for free, or you can get some business cards cheaply made that you can use for free. I have even done this where I've had I've done like PNG or JPEG copies of like clients' resumes, and I'm like, just shoot them this photo of your, you know what I mean, like just something different, like their one page resume, and I'm like, okay, you can just text them this quick photo of your resume or whatever. So just some different ideas to get them connected and engaged. And then of course, there's the typical, like you can go to conventions and stuff like that. But those, typically if somebody's looking for a job or looking for more like economical ways to connect, your local, and free online events are going to be great ways for you to build those connections. And like I say, like that little creative approach of having that JPEG of your one page resume, that you can just shoot them really quick, to kind of get a discussion going if they're interested in you. So,
And that's a great way to get noticed too. Just the innovation, just that they're showing that
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give it to you right here. That nobody's gonna expect that. They're gonna be blown away.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm just gonna shoot you like my one-page resume really quick, and if you think that it's something, that we can talk further about, then let's do that, and I'll shoot you the long form and cover letter later. Like that is literally what I've done for some. I know it's different. I use a lot of QR codes too. I really find that people like to engage in that way, and so use QR codes on my business cards. I've done events where if it's something that I want clients or potential business partners to connect to, I'll have it all laid out on, like I just recently did a workshop where I wanted to be able to have this list of resources for the client, right? But I also wanted to make sure I put my website on the list, and I wanted something they would click. So I did the whole thing as a layout in QR code. So it's just like, oh, they can go to these different resources, but they could just click and scan. And it was just a quick one pager. And just something just innovative and a little bit different. Then of course they have free business cards that you can, make electronically or whatever, but just doing something different to get people engaged and noticing you, that you're willing to take that extra step, like you said.
Right. Well, in the spirit of, we're kind of networking here during this interview, and I want to share something with you that I do. So I obviously go to a lot of networking events
Yeah.
because that's what I do. So those QR codes, between those QR codes and those electronic business cards, I found that there were glitches with the business cards, and if you have a QR code, you have to dig through your phone for the QR code. Well, if you're meeting a lot of people at once or meeting somebody and it's kind of in passing, um, I have, oh, you can't see it. Well, you can kind of see it
I
because
can kind of see it.
I'm not in my studio, but I have a picture of my studio in the background right now. Uh, I have a QR code on the wallpaper of my screen.
That is
I have to
crazy. I love that.
and you just do it right on Canva, and if you're not familiar with Canva, have a friend do it for you. And then from there, this is funny that you said that about all the QR codes you used on the one pager. I use a program called Linktree.
Oh, that's great.
And it has my contact information you can save, and then you can add documents and other websites and stuff. Like, I'm a real estate agent. Here's where you can search properties. Here's where you can search my course. I'm a VP of a foundation. So here's information on that. And it's just everything is right there, but it's nice and neat in your contact information.
Yeah, so these are great innovative ways because people are just, it's really just about showing that like you're taking that extra step in the process, right? I really love that. And I've been thinking about getting Linktree myself. One other idea that I've seen people say is an option is if you have a personal website is to create a link page on your website, right? Because that'll bring people back to your website and you can store all of your pages there. So I'm in between thinking about what I'm going to do, but I really love that idea of having that scannable link to that one QR code, right?
Right.
That's great.
Yeah, and they provide that for you. You don't have to go and like recreate the wheel. It's
Right.
right there for you to download in your account. So yeah, yeah, that's my little tip. There's no swiping through your phone. There's no seeing if they got, the signal from the chip.
Yeah.
But I am a huge fan of regular business cards. And the reason why is because when I meet somebody or if I'm at a large event, I'm getting tons of business cards and people are like, "Oh, I'm just going to put these in my CRM or I'll follow up with them later." The next day I go and I put them in my CRM, but you can't do that with a QR code. Like
Yeah.
it's like you forget about it. You forget it's there. So that's the downside. So I carry both.
Yeah, that's why I have the QR code on the business card with still all of the information there available, right?
Yeah,
On my particular business card, what I use is the QR code for like the sign up for my email list. So
right.
and it takes you right to my site.
Yeah.
So So great conversation so far in terms of, we talked about the tips, the challenges that we see in network and some innovative ideas. And I mean, it's very easy to see how just simply introducing yourself and having organic conversation versus being transactional. This is very much an example of organic conversation, and we're building and collaborating and learning ideas from each other. And that's really how it should go. And I just would say, I remember when I first started the process, because I am very much an introvert, even though it might not seem like it in this particular, interview, but I'm very much an introvert. And I was very much that transactional person. And I remember going up to people, hi, my name is Kristy Taylor. And this is when I was working in higher education. Yes, and I have a doctorate in global health. Like, this is not a way to pitch yourself. It was such an unnatural conversation. But it was just me trying to put myself out there. And I have found that as an introvert, when I just focus on the natural organic conversations, and even though I might have a pitch in my head, things that I want to say or things that I want this person to know about me, I just kind of interweave it naturally into the conversation, right? And if it's a no-go, then it's just a no-go, right? If it doesn't fit, then I'm not going to say it just so that they can hear about me. But I try to naturally have natural discussions, because I think that people will remember you more too, if you come off as more natural and the conversation is more organic.
I completely agree. And I also, from the opposite standpoint, as the person who, you walk up to somebody and you introduce yourselves and say they're like, "So what do you do?" And it's like, "Well, no, I don't want to start the conversation that way." I get anxiety like that. That's when my anxiety kicks
Right? It's
in, is
like,
when
that awkward first date.
I'm put on the spot and I'm like, "I wanted to have a nice conversation with you, but now I'm like, now I'm frantic."
Yeah,
So I
it's
think
like,
it works both ways.
yeah, it's really just, look for natural ways to start the conversation. Like, it could even be like if you're at a dinner or something like that, and it's like, okay, hey, did you like the wine or did you like the food that they served? You can start a conversation like that, and then just kind of let it flow naturally. And then, eventually someone, oh, what is your name? And then what do you do? It'll flow naturally versus, hi, what do you do? My name is Kristy. I'm a coach.
Right,
Everybody's a coach.
right,
So,
right, right.